Here then are 10 steps that I would suggest on January 21st, 2009, once the gala is over and for the inauguration. First, end the Iraq War immediately. I would immediately assign $30 billion in 2009 to the United Nations to be divided between a peacekeeping contingent and an economic development program. Withdrawal of troops will be phased and probably require another $30 billion over a 6-month period. Net saving in 2009 would be on the order of $100 billion, and net saving in later years would be at least $150 billion per year. Second, announce the end of the Bush tax cuts in fiscal year 2010. Net budget saving will be around $250 billion per year. Third, send a climate envoy to China, the European Union, India, and the G77 countries to open intensive negotiations on a climate change agreement by the end of 2009. That agreement should focus on national targets for emission reductions, pledges to adopt best available technologies, massive increases in adaptation funding for the poorest countries, a large-scale solar initiative for Africa, and a large-scale clean coal initiative for India, China, and the United States. Fourth, hold a summit of dryland regions in the White House in the spring of 2009, including Senegal, Mali, Niger, Chad, Sudan, Somalia, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Israel, Palestine, the United States, Mexico, Australia, the North African countries, and Mediterranean Europe. The goal would be to launch a 3-year undertaking to assess the acute and growing water risks, food insecurity, new engineering and agronomic approaches, and climate change hazards to the world's drylands, which are the first in the line of fire of global climate change. Fifth, call on Congress to sign the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea and the UN Convention on Biological Diversity in the first session of the Congress. Sixth, triple the public sector funding for R&D into sustainable energy systems to reach at least $10 billion per year in 2010, up from $3 billion per year in fiscal year 2009. This should be directed at 5 priorities: demonstration of carbon capture and sequestration, both in the US and abroad; 2, development of solar power, both concentrated thermal and photovoltaics; 3, high mileage automobiles, including plug-in hybrids; 4, safety and efficiency of nuclear power plants; and 5, support for green building design and construction. 7, embrace the Millennium Development Goals as the organizing principle for U.S. foreign assistance and commit the U.S. to double aid from $25 billion this year to $50 billion in FY 2010 and to reach 0.7% of GNP, roughly $100 billion per year at current income levels by 2015. The aid would be directed to water, disease control, renewable energy sources, and increased agricultural productivity, with at least half of all aid going to Africa. 8, call on Congress to eliminate the subsidy on ethanol production immediately in order to reduce pressures on national and global food prices and to rationalize our approach to sustainable energy. 9, immediately reestablish the U.S. contribution to the United Nations Population Fund and call on countries to revisit the objectives of the Global Plan on Population and Development from the 1994 Cairo Conference. The aim should be to stabilize the world's population by 2050 at 8 billion people or fewer through a rapid and voluntary reduction of fertility rates supported by universal access to family planning services. 10, establish a new Department for International Sustainable Development at cabinet level, which will oversee our international efforts in poverty alleviation, climate change, and biodiversity conservation. Note that the budget objectives outlined in these 10 steps would leave a net saving of well over $200 billion per year to address other domestic needs and to reduce the U.S. budget deficit.